In the North Pole, Antarctica, and Greenland, there are large ice masses called ice caps or glaciers. These large masses of ice are now melting due to the change in the climate over the years. Scientists say the warming atmosphere, along with new weather pattern extremes, is causing Arctic sea ice to melt at an alarming rate, 12% per decade. Also, warm ocean currents travel north from the equator and usher in warmer and warmer water, making sea ice growth difficult. What most people don't know is that nearly all glacier melt occurs on the underside of the glacier beyond the grounding line. The grounding line is the dividing line between the part of the glacier that is above the water and the part of the glacier that is under the water. Global warming, humans, the warming atmosphere, new weather patterns, greenhouse gases, warmer water, and the natural processes of the environment all contribute to the melting of polar ice caps and glaciers. The Arctic regions of the Earth are very important for regulating the climate. The loss of these regions has the potential to cause major environmental problems that affect everyone on this Earth. For instance, hundreds of millions of people live in areas that will become increasingly vulnerable to flooding. Low-lying islands could be submerged completely. This is the result of sea level rise. Sea level rise occurs in all of the oceans and seas around the world. Current rates of sea level rise are expected to increase as a result both of thermal expansion of the oceans and melting of most mountain glaciers and partial melting of the West Antarctic and Greenland ice caps. Some scientists predict that a complete meltdown of the Greenland ice sheet might push sea level rise to 23 feet, or 7 meters, enough to submerge London. Also, the melting of the ice, sea level rise, and the thermal expansion of the ice will ultimately lead to the loss of biodiversity. Not to mention, animals that thrive on the cold climate of the Arctic regions like seals, polar bears, and Arctic foxes will lose their habitats. A lot of marine life will also be affected. That is why we need to take efforts to preserve these regions. Global warming and the emission of greenhouse gases is the #1 cause of melting polar ice caps. The most important thing an individual can do is to save energy. Today, there are new technologies that help conserve energy like wind turbines, which use the wind's power to create energy. There are also certain brands of cars that make hybrid cars, which use less gas and reduce the amount of greenhouse gas emission on the roads. Other steps larger companies can make to save the environment are to modernize power plants and build refrigerators, air conditioners, and whole buildings that use less power. The Arctic regions help sustain the environment, and if we don't do anything, they may not be around forever.